Welcome to Traders Next Door. I'm your host, Ed Katashabe from Forex Insights SA, and this is the weekly scoop. The dollar is in dire straits after a really hectic week last week. Looking at NFP week, we had some really interesting economic results come out that are going to have both short term and long term consequences for what the dollar is going to do. Looking at PMI that came out on Thursday, we are down to 46.8, below that magical growth factor of 50, and it has been that way since September of 2022, apart from a brief stint in April 24 where we hid above that number. Now, for those of you not in the know, PMI is normally a leading indicator of what the economy is looking like month to month. And the fact that we have been below that 50 mark consecutively for this long is a little bit of a worrying sign for the dollar. Also, last week we had NFP coming down all the way to 114,000, a recent historic low for NFP, down from a previous 179,000. So NFP coming in really, really low on the week, on the month. Unemployment coming up to 4.3%, a recent historic high over the last 2 years. Jobless claims coming in at 249,000. So you can see how last week's economic data really having a massive impact on what the dollar is going to do. And this is why we saw that drastic dump for the dollar. So is the dollar in a little bit of trouble? We're about to find out. So looking at how things have transpired recently, researchers are already starting to have a little bit of a chat about, are we coming into a recession? These figures not looking very positive for the dollar, both in the short and the long term, and Powell not wanting to show his hand is giving some unease into the markets. So with recent recession talks, it is looking like experts are expecting a 100% chance of a rate cut coming in September, with a possible 2 more rate cuts to come thereafter. Big Daddy Powell not going to show his hand, so we're not going to get an official statement about how many rate cuts they expect for the year and what months they are expecting to come. But experts are expecting we're most likely going to get at least 3, the first one coming in September. Powell, during FOMC, did make a statement saying that they're looking at the data very carefully. They are only going to consider the data, but with the data coming in recent weeks and months of how it's looking, it is looking like his hand is about to be forced. Powell and the FOMC committee looking for that magical 2% inflationary marker. They're wanting inflation to come down to 2% before they turn their hand, but with recent events, it's looking like that figure is going to be coming in hot and fast. And if they wait too long before they start the rate cuts, it is going to look like they are going to overshoot their target. So possible rate cuts coming in September looking very likely. At least about 500 base points is what most experts are alluding to. So we are going to have to wait and see. CPI coming in later this month is going to be a very, very important figure. If CPI is another miss for the dollar, then the chances of us getting that rate cut increases significantly. If CPI comes out positive for the dollar, we may see that rate cut shifted forward ever so slightly. But a rate cut is most likely coming due to most experts' opinions. So looking at what we look forward to for the rest of this week, we only have PMI services and jobless claims to look forward to this week coming. So the dollar, very unlikely to see any real resurgence in strength this week. No real economic activity to drive that ahead of what NFP did to it. So take that into consideration with your trading this week coming forward. Dollar weakness is likely to stay for the rest of the week. So use that in consideration with your trading. It's going to be a very interesting week come CPI. That is where the big moves are going to happen in the market. And this is where we are going to see what the future of the dollar is going to look like in the more recent months to come. So that is the scoop on what has happened in the last week, what to look forward to in the week coming. If you have any more questions, go ahead and populate them in the comment section down below, and check out Forex Insights essay in the description of this video to see more long form videos explaining some of these concepts. Hope you guys have enjoyed the scoop. I've been Ed Cat, and this has been Traders Next Door.